Stop. Stop caring. Stop explaining. Stop bending yourself into shapes that please people who wouldn't bleed a single drop for you. Let me ask you something. How many opportunities have you destroyed because you feared someone's opinion? How many times have you silenced yourself just to avoid judgment? How often have you lived as the watered-down version of who you are just to stay acceptable? Here's the dangerous lie society trains you to believe, that caring what people think makes you a good person. No, it makes you predictable, manipulable, weak. And here's the hidden truth you were never supposed to discover. Indifference is power. Cold, strategic, Machiavellian indifference. The kind that makes people chase you, respect you, and fear ever losing access to you. Today, you will learn how to stop caring what they think and use the dark power of indifference to control your life with ruthless clarity. This is for protection, not destruction. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose power over approval. Niccolò Machiavelli lived in a world of betrayal, shifting alliances, and ruthless political games. He watched men rise and fall, not because they lacked talent, but because they cared too much about being liked. He understood a brutal truth. The moment you crave approval, you surrender your power. And that is why this knowledge has been buried, because a population addicted to validation is easy to control. But a man who is indifferent to opinion, he becomes unstoppable, unpredictable, and unmanipulable. Right now, whether you realize it or not, you are leaking power. Every time you adjust yourself to avoid judgment, every time you dim your light to fit in, every time you fear disappointing someone, you hand your freedom to them. But today, that ends. In this video, you will learn 8 Machiavellian laws of indifference, the same psychological principles used by powerful leaders, cold strategists, and people who never crumble under pressure. Stay with me, because once you master these laws, people will treat you differently. Your presence will feel heavier. Your silence will feel stronger, and your life will no longer be dictated by the opinions of the weak. Let's begin.
Number 1. The law of emotional detachment. People think caring makes you human. Machiavelli understood the opposite. The more emotionally detached you are from people's opinions, the more power you naturally command. Society tells you to be open, vulnerable, authentic. But here's the truth. People judge appearances, not intentions, and emotional exposure gives them leverage. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Here's what most people don't understand. The world doesn't reward your inner goodness. It rewards the image you project. If your emotional state is visible, predictable, readable, you become easy to manipulate. Let me explain why this matters. When you detach your emotions from people's opinions, you signal self-sufficiency. Humans instinctively respect those who do not seek approval. This is the reality. Indifference is not coldness. It is control. It is the ability to feel but not react, to think but not reveal, to observe without being swayed. Think about it this way. The person who needs nothing cannot be controlled by anything. Imagine you're in a group and someone tries to undermine you with a joke. Most people laugh awkwardly, apologize, or over-explain. But the emotionally detached person, he doesn't flinch. No reaction, no smile, just calm silence. Suddenly, the dynamic flips. The instigator loses power. The room feels your presence shift. People begin to treat you with quiet respect, maybe even fear. To practice emotional detachment, you must train 3 behaviors. First, control your face. People read microexpressions instantly. Second, control your tone. Speak slowly, calmly, and without urgency. Third, control your reactions. Before responding to anything, pause for 2 seconds. This pause alone transforms how people perceive your strength. Use this in work environments to prevent colleagues from manipulating you. Use it in relationships to stop being guilt-controlled. Use it socially to project natural dominance. This doesn't mean you become emotionless. The paradox is this: people trust you more when you are less reactive. They see you as stable, grounded, reliable, because your emotions are not on public display. Use emotional detachment ethically. The goal is self-control, not emotional cruelty. Never use this to hurt innocent people or suppress genuine kindness. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my emotional state. Now let's move to something even more powerful. Number 2, the law of silent power. Most people talk too much, reveal too much, and defend themselves too quickly. The powerful don't. Silence intimidates because it forces others to reveal themselves. Conventional wisdom says communication is everything. But here's the Machiavellian reality. Silence is a weapon. Machiavelli once said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand." Here's what most people miss. Silence doesn't mean you lack an answer. It means you're controlling the frame. When you speak instantly, you surrender the psychological high ground. But when you pause, observe, and respond slowly, people start projecting power onto you. Let me explain why this matters. Silence signals discipline. Discipline signals strength. Strength commands respect. Think about it. The person who speaks the least always appears to be the one holding the most information. Think about the most respected boss you ever had. Did they ramble? Probably not. Imagine this scenario. Someone challenges your opinion in front of others. Instead of arguing, you pause, look at them calmly, and say, "Noted." That one word destroys their momentum. Their confidence collapses. Everyone sees that you're unshaken. Use silence in 3 ways. 1. After someone finishes speaking, wait 2 seconds before responding. It makes them feel evaluated. 2. When confronted, respond with short, neutral phrases. 3. When pressured, don't explain. State. Use this at work during negotiations. Use it in dating to avoid looking needy. Use it socially to project quiet dominance. Silence doesn't make you mysterious. It reveals that you cannot be rushed. And someone who cannot be rushed cannot be controlled. Do not use silence to punish or manipulate emotionally fragile people. Use it only to protect your boundaries and maintain psychological sovereignty. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I speak with purpose, not desperation. Now, stay with me because this next law changes everything.
Number 3, the law of unbothered presence. People respect the ones who move through life unaffected by chaos. The unbothered man becomes magnetic because nothing destabilizes him. Society tells you to stay connected, stay responsive, stay involved. But involvement often equals entanglement, and entanglement destroys power. Machiavelli once said, "Never was anything great achieved without danger." Here's what most people don't understand. When you react to everything around you, you look powerless. But when you remain steady, indifferent, emotionally sovereign, people automatically raise your value. Let me explain why. Humans have a primal instinct to follow the calmest person in the room. The unbothered presence signals confidence, confidence signals competence, and competence signals leadership. Think about it this way. You become the emotional anchor that others depend on. Let me tell you about someone I know. He was the quietest man in every room,
Chaos never moved him. People argued, stressed, panicked. He just breathed slowly, observed, stayed grounded. And the strange thing? Everyone came to him for guidance. Not because he was the smartest, but because he was the most unbothered. He became the psychological center of every group. To build an unbothered presence, first, lower your physical reactions. No fidgeting, no rushing, no sudden movements. Second, lower your emotional reactions. No defensive explanations, no anxious correcting. Third, lower your social reactions. Respond when you choose, not when you're pressured. Use this especially in environments where people test your boundaries: family, relationships, competitive workplaces. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. The paradox is this: you feel everything, but you choose your expression. And choice equals power. Never weaponize indifference to harm people who care about you. Use it only to protect your peace and maintain control when someone tries to destabilize you. Drop this affirmation in the comments: I remain unbothered and in control. And now, the next law will shift the way you see yourself forever.
Number 4, the fortress of emotional silence. You've been taught that silence is weakness, that not responding makes you passive, that holding your tongue means you're losing the battle. That's the lie. The truth is brutal. Silence is a weapon, one of the most strategic tools you'll ever possess. Machiavelli once said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand." Silence forces them to judge without evidence, without certainty, without control, and that terrifies people. Here's what most people don't understand. When you respond emotionally, you reveal yourself. You expose your internal world. You give people the blueprint to manipulate you. But when you stay silent, you force the world to confront its own assumptions. They start projecting their fears, their insecurities, their guilt onto your silence. Let me explain why this matters. Most people are addicted to immediate reactions. They need quick validation. They need quick reassurance. They need constant emotional feedback. Silence denies them that. Silence makes you unpredictable. Silence gives you the upper hand without saying a single word. Imagine this situation. Someone throws a subtle insult at you in front of others. Most people defend themselves instantly, exposing their insecurity. But you just look at them, calm, unmoved, silent. Within seconds, everyone wonders, why didn't he react? What does he know? Who is he? Their mind spirals, and the power shifts to you effortlessly. Now here's how you use this principle with precision. In conversations, delay your responses by 2 seconds. Hold eye contact without rushing. Let others speak themselves into vulnerability before you say a single thing. In arguments, use silence as a reset button. Let them drain their emotional energy while you conserve yours. In relationships, silence signals standards. You teach people how to treat you by what you no longer respond to. This doesn't mean withdrawing from everyone. This doesn't mean becoming cold or antisocial. The paradox is this: silence is not the absence of communication. It's communication without weakness. Use it ethically. Use it to protect your peace, not to play with people's emotions. The goal is self-control, not cruelty. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose silence as strength. Now stay with me, because the next law changes everything. Number 5, the calculated distance principle. Here's a truth most people refuse to accept. When you stay too close to others, they stop valuing you. Familiarity doesn't breed connection. It breeds carelessness. It breeds entitlement. It breeds disrespect. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." When you allow unlimited access, people stop noticing your worth. When you create distance, people start paying attention again. Here's what most people don't understand. Humans get bored fast. We crave novelty, and constant availability kills novelty instantly. Distance, on the other hand, creates scarcity, and scarcity creates desire, curiosity, and respect. Let me explain why this matters. If you're always reachable, always present, always responsive, people begin to treat you like a background character in their life. But when you strategically distance yourself, you become someone they think about, someone they wonder about, someone they chase. Think about it this way. The people you admire the most are rarely the ones who are constantly in your face. They're the ones who move with intention, who appear and disappear with purpose, whose presence feels powerful because it's not overused. Let me tell you about someone I know. He was always available for his friends, always ready to help, always present. They never thanked him. They never valued his time. He decided to take a step back. He stopped replying instantly. He stopped showing up for everything. Within weeks, those same people started reaching out more, asking if he was okay, seeking his advice again. His distance restored his value. Now here's how you apply this principle. Stop making yourself predictable. Start giving people space to miss you. In conversations, leave before the energy drops. In relationships, don't always be the initiator. In social settings, let your absence be felt so your presence becomes more powerful. This doesn't mean disappearing completely. This doesn't mean ignoring people who care. The paradox is this: you are valued more when you give less access, not less love. Use this wisely. Don't weaponize distance to manipulate. Use it to establish boundaries, dignity, and emotional leverage. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I elevate my value through strategic distance. And now, the next law is where most people completely fail.
Number 6, the power of controlled unpredictability. Most people think consistency makes you likable. They think predictability makes you trustworthy. But Machiavellian psychology reveals the opposite. Predictability makes you manipulatable. Machiavelli once said, "Never was anything great achieved without danger." Predictability removes danger, and without danger, you become forgettable, controllable, and easy to take advantage of. Here's what most people don't understand. When people can predict you, they can plan around you. They can exploit your habits. They can anticipate your reactions. They can use your patterns against you. But when they can't predict you, they approach you with caution, respect, and strategy. Let me explain why this matters. Being consistent is good. Being predictable is dangerous. Controlled unpredictability means you stay in command of your patterns. You disrupt expectations on your terms. You make people think twice before assuming they understand you. Think about the most charismatic leaders you've ever encountered. They weren't predictable. They were steady, yes, but never fully known. They had edges, mystery, layers. You always wondered what they were thinking. That's what made them powerful. That's what made them magnetic. Imagine this scenario. Someone expects you to react emotionally to criticism. Instead, you laugh. They expect you to over-explain. Instead, you say nothing. They expect you to chase. Instead, you walk away. Every time you break their expectations, you regain psychological control. Here's how to apply this in real life. Change small habits. Shift your schedules. Respond in unexpected ways, but always with intention. Don't reveal everything about your life. Don't broadcast your moves. Move like the wind, felt, but never fully seen. This doesn't mean being chaotic. This doesn't mean being irresponsible. The paradox is this: unpredictability should be controlled, never random. A lion is unpredictable, but it's not erratic. It moves with purpose. So should you. Use this ethically.
Don't confuse unpredictability with recklessness. You're not trying to destabilize others. You're protecting yourself from being controlled. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I move with strategic unpredictability. And stay with me, because what comes next will blow your mind. Number 7, the fearless rejection mindset. Rejection controls most people. It shapes their decisions. It dictates their personality. It silences their voice. But here's the truth no one tells you. Rejection is only powerful when you fear it. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." But what he meant wasn't cruelty. It was independence. The moment you stop fearing rejection, you stop fearing people. Here's what most people don't understand. Rejection is not a judgment of your worth. It's a reflection of someone's preferences, limits, or insecurities. Yet people twist it into a personal failure, and that fear becomes a cage they never escape. Let me explain why this matters. When you fear rejection, you stay silent when you should speak. You hold back when you should act. You play small when you should rise. But the Machiavellian mindset flips the script. You don't avoid rejection, you use it as a filter. A filter that removes people who were never aligned with your destiny. Imagine this. You express your truth calmly and confidently. Someone pulls away. Instead of collapsing, instead of apologizing, instead of chasing, you let them go. Suddenly, you become rare. Suddenly, you become powerful. Why? Because the one who doesn't fear loss holds all the leverage. Here's how to apply this daily. Ask for what you want. Speak your boundaries without trembling. Walk away from disrespect instantly. Never beg for acceptance. This doesn't mean becoming careless or confrontational. The paradox is this: the more comfortable you are with rejection, the less you experience it. Say it in the comments, I fear nothing that was never mine. And now, breathe in, because the final law is the heart of indifference and the foundation of true power.
Number 8, the self-sufficiency principle. This is the root of everything. Every law you've learned in this video collapses without this one. Self-sufficiency. Machiavelli said it best. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. What does that mean? It means a powerful person chooses who enters their world. A powerless person hopes to be chosen. Here's what most people don't understand. People cling to opinions because they lack inner stability. They cling to approval because they lack identity. They cling to validation because they lack internal grounding. Let me explain why this matters. The moment you become emotionally self-sufficient, you stop needing praise. You stop fearing criticism. You stop chasing acceptance. You stop tolerating disrespect. You become whole. Imagine this version of yourself. You wake up already enough. You make decisions without second guessing. You walk into rooms with quiet confidence. You no longer shrink for anyone. You no longer explain your worth. You no longer apologize for existing. This version of you is powerful. Not because you're dangerous, but because you're complete. Here's how to build self-sufficiency daily. Develop habits that strengthen your identity. Read philosophies that sharpen your thinking. Build skills that expand your competence. Spend time alone until solitude feels like oxygen, not punishment. The paradox is this: when you no longer need anyone, that's when the right people are drawn to you. Say it in the comments, I am whole, with or without approval. And now it's time for everything to come together. There will always be people who try to control you,
people who test you, people who judge you, people who want to shape you into something smaller, quieter, more obedient. But that ends today, because now you understand the truth. Power belongs to the one who needs nothing, to the one who remains unshaken, to the one who chooses silence over chaos, distance over desperation, purpose over permission. You are no longer controlled by opinions. You are no longer weakened by validation. You are no longer afraid of rejection. You are no longer predictable or dependent. From today forward, you move strategically. You speak with intention. You think with clarity. You walk like someone who owns himself completely. This is not arrogance. This is sovereignty. This is what people fear. This is what people respect. This is what people follow. So take a breath, straighten your back, lift your chin, and step into the world as someone impossible to manipulate. If this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments. And remember this, not as advice, but as identity. You don't need their approval. You never did.